Good morning. It's time for Two Guys on Sports. I'm Larry Hazer.
I'm Dick Olson. Good morning, Larry.
Good morning, Dick. Let's start off here by talking about, first of all, football game.
Yeah, a change in plans.
Yes. Yesterday, about mid-afternoon, they made the change to go to tonight for the high school football game.
Yeah, because they're talking about rain starting late Thursday tonight and going all day Friday. They're talking 2 to 3 inches.
Yeah.
And also, I've heard 40-mile-an-hour winds.
Yeah, very windy as well.
It would pretty much be unplayable. So I think this is a good switch. Get it done. And
it'll go tonight instead of tomorrow night. So same time, but another Thursday night game for the Warriors.
Hopefully, it's senior night. So that hopefully this fires the kids up. They've got an Elk Mound team in. It's not too bad coming in too. So
and it's an Elk Mound team that likes to run the ball. And, Neillsville Granted has run into a few of those teams here lately.
And you go back to last Thursday night, Larry. They just couldn't find a way to stop Regis. Regis comes at you with that unique formation, and they were just getting 3, 4, 5 guys out in front of the running back, and there was 6, 7, 8 yards and more many times before the Warriors could even get to the ball carrier.
Yeah.
So,
well, at first it looked like it was going to be a scoring fest.
Yeah, it did. And I said, you go back, and I played this over. Neillsville scored first, went down, scored, and then Regis came back with a nice drive, and then Neillsville Granton comes back with a great drive, and they're going in on a 42-yard pass from Erickson to Boyer, and I don't want to call it controversial, but to me it was. And of course we're in high school football, so there's not going to be the chance of having a camera angle to see if Braylon Boyer fumbled before he went in the end zone or after. We'll never know because I don't know one person who was standing at the goal line. The referee who made the call was behind him.
Yeah.
So I don't believe he had the best way. And then the side official was way on the other side, and he came in and just agreed with it. And
that changed the game because
it did.
The next play,
80-yard run on a jet sweep by Andrews of Regis, and after that, it took a long time for the Warriors to get the momentum back. By the time they got the momentum back, Regis had scored again, but Warriors credit, they got in at 20-12, but Regis just came back in the second half and just pounded it down their throats.
Yeah. So it's strange how you can't stop that offense.
But you look at it how it's set up, and the fullback is right directly behind the quarterback, and by the time the quarterback hands off, they've got 3 or 4 guys in front of that running back, including Elby, who's a 200-pound fullback. So it's very tough to stop, and I think too if you have a bigger size team, you might be able to hold up some of them linemen and but the Warriors are a little bit undersized in the defensive line. So,
right. Yeah. If they had some bigger, apparently that's what helped Mondovi.
Yeah,
right.
Absolutely. You can hold up some of them offensive linemen and let the linebackers get through and make the play, or even your safety, pretty close to the line of scrimmage. But that wasn't happening the other night.
So Neillsville Granton, so they fall to 4-2 in the conference and 5-3 overall. So kind of a big game here as far as seeding goes tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. To me, Larry, we're right on the line between a 4 and a 5. You win, you might be a 4. You lose, you're probably a 5. And that's the difference between a home game and an away game right there.
Yeah. 6-3 could very well get you a home game, but 5-4.
5-4 is not.
Most likely not. No. So, all right, so Neillsville Granted and Elk Mound tonight to wrap up the regular season. Again, that's tonight, 7
Thursday
o'clock.
night. If you go Friday night, you're just going to get wet and be cold and mad.
And there won't be anybody there.
Yeah, you'll be all by yourself.
So, again, it is tonight, 7 o'clock, 92.7 WPKG with the pregame going at around 6:35. And before we go any further, my condolences to you and your family, the passing of your dad.
Yeah, Dad is 83, and I said, I'm here tonight because he'd want me here.
Yeah.
That's the big thing.
Yeah.
And the game tomorrow night, same way, he'd be very angry at me if I didn't do either one of them.
Yes, all right. Well,
but, I said, I got to thinking, Larry, since 1971, he and my mother have had a person playing sports somewhere. Since 1970,
right.
Between Loyal, Neillsville, Spencer, and Marshfield. So,
wow.
So 52 years. So pretty good run as a spectator.
I would say, yes.
Yeah, so thank you very much.
All right, moving on. Golf, they had the 52nd State Golf Tournament earlier this week. And Divine Savior Holy Angels. You don't really see them in golf much. But
and just held off Wanakee by 2 strokes and Middleton by 8. But so they get the first place. But the individual is back-to-back, and Izzy Stricker, and of course she comes from some pretty good lineage.
Yeah, yeah. Her dad is, of course, Steve Stricker.
Yeah, and then her mom was a Tiziani. Her dad was the golf coach at the University of Wisconsin, and his dad, Mario, played on the professional golf tour. So Izzy comes from some pretty good bloodlines. So
that's some nice lessons to get
to
take there. But again, Divine Savior Holy Angels, that's their first ever golf championship. You usually see them in volleyball.
Volleyball. Absolutely.
That's their sport.
Yeah, and that is about the only thing I've ever seen them in. So.
Prescott in Division II won their fourth consecutive state championship.
They've had a heck of a run over there.
Yeah, they have. Yeah.
But a gal from Colfax Elk Mountain was the medalist in Division II, Belle
Kongshog.
Okay. All right.
Kongshog.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I was hoping you'd pick me up on that.
She's been golfing very well all year.
And
all the tournaments.
Nice 150, 80, 77. So 13 over. Nice 2 rounds for her down there at University.
You bet. University Ridge in Verona is where they had that state girls golf championships. The Clarabelle Conference crossover playoffs for girls volleyball were held on Tuesday. And, it wasn't a complete sweep for the West.
And usually it has been the last couple of years. But Spencer at number 5 and Owen Withey at number 7 breaking through for winners. And the rest of them kind of struggled. But, that's the way it's been lately. The West has been seen like they've had the cream of the crop in volleyball for a while here now. So.
But a good one coming up tonight with the first place match.
This should be a dandy up at McDonald. Columbus at McDonald. Columbus, the number 1 team in Division 1. And, of course, McDonald. Division 4, excuse me. McDonald, of course, was a defending state champion in 4, who is playing in 3 now. And they ranked very highly in 3
number
also.
3 in Division 3.
So this should be a dandy up there. So,
you bet. All right. And girls volleyball, there are some brackets that are out.
Yeah, I haven't seen any. I looked yesterday afternoon, and I hadn't seen any yet.
Yeah, they're not all full. There are some scattered around in some of the divisions.
But they start Tuesday.
Yes.
Tuesday. So
next Tuesday.
Yep.
So. All right. Stanley Boyd High School standout Henry Hole. I don't know if you heard about this. He's going to be playing basketball at Eau Claire next fall.
Yeah, Henry's about 6'5", 6'6", I believe. So
averaging 20 points, 10 rebounds a game for Stanley Boyd.
I remember Henry playing baseball back in the years ago.
Oh, okay.
In 3-4 and 5, 12U and 10U.
Was he tall then?
He was the tallest Stanley Boyd kid, but he wasn't that tall.
Oh,
I guess he probably stood about 5'8", 5'9", third grade. He definitely was taller than anybody Nielsville or Stanley Boyd had.
Okay,
so, but,
all right.
His dad was the coach in those days, and he was a really nice man also. They were fun to play against.
Okay. So. All right, so he's going to UW Eau Claire coming up next fall.
Yeah.
Clarabelle Cross Country meets coming up this Saturday at Lake Wissota.
And that'll be hosted by McDonald Central. Yeah. So, they've got their conference meet this weekend, and then the following Saturday they will have their sectional tournament. So,
and cross country coach Adam Lukdron is going to have his hands full because 8th grade boys basketball practice starts later today. So he's got that going on plus cross country.
Loving every minute of it too. I bet.
Of course, the middle school boys have to start early because they are done before Christmas.
Yeah.
And then the girls are after Christmas.
Yeah. They probably got their first game in about 8-10 days.
I think it's the middle of the month.
Yeah.
Later in the month.
Yeah.
It's in October, I know, their first game.
So, we're sitting here on the 12th already, I believe.
Yeah.
So.
All right. A little different approach here on Two Guys on Sports again today. Where are they now? Trajan Bogdanovich of Greenwood has a podcast. It's called Wisconsin Sports on the Go with Trage. You can look that up wherever you get your podcasts. And he talked with loyal native and NGL wrestler Stephen Buchanan, who's wrestling at the University of Oklahoma this year. And Stephen starts off this portion. I didn't take the whole thing. If you want to listen to the whole thing, you can go to Wisconsin Sports on the Go with Trage. But I kind of edited a little bit, but he starts off, Stephen does, by talking about the difference in the levels of wrestling opponents and training over the years leading to this point in his career.
Yeah, so the competitive level is definitely way higher than high school. Every guy you step out on the mat is going to be really good, but the coaches kind of hold you to a standard of being a professional, just coming in every day, knowing what you're going to do, and then doing it to the best of your ability. So I think that's the biggest change from high school to college is it's a job, and at a job you have to perform well, otherwise you have consequences. So it's taken a lot more serious. But other than that, the mat stays the same size. You still have coaches, you still have teammates. So other than that, it's pretty much all the same.
Okay, okay. And you went from, like we talked about, you were wrestling at Oklahoma or at Wyoming. Sorry, you're at
Hmm.
Wyoming. You went to Oklahoma. Now, tell us about kind of the transfer there. Was it easy? Was it a simple move? Was it complex? We hear stories about guys transferring all the time, and it's disaster strikes, and then it's just a mess, or it goes simple for them. And did anything like NIL is starting to be introduced into the college sports world? Did anything like that come into play making this move for you?
Right, right. And yeah, exactly what you said. Some guys who do transfer end up having the worst career of their life, and they end up just kind of falling off the board. So that was definitely kind of scary. Also, building relationships for 3.5 years with your teammates, with your coaches, it's never going to make things easy. So the move for me wasn't easy at all. You have broken relationships. No matter how good you are, you're going to be the bad guy. But something that definitely kind of made that transfer happen was my coach Tion Ware ended up getting a coaching job at Oklahoma. So that kind of spawned the transfer, and I hopped into the transfer portal. And another reason was I just wasn't really getting the scholarship that I was hoping for. They had me on 75, and I needed another 25 to cover for my schooling, and I was kind of going in debt. So I kind of hopped into the transfer portal to see if I could get a full ride, and Oklahoma did offer that, so that kind of made the transfer a little bit easier. So other than the relationships and just leaving the boys back at Wyoming, other than that, it was a pretty nice move.
I just want to know from a Wisconsin guy's perspective, why Wisconsin isn't attracting, even like you went out to Wyoming, but then you enter that transfer portal. Did they contact you at all, come back home or anything like that? And why do you think Wisconsin is losing so many recruits out of state right now? They can't keep the guys home. And that's in all aspects of sports right now. Wisconsin doesn't do well recruiting in state. But why, for you, from your opinion, why does Wisconsin struggle with that? And did they contact you at all in this transfer process?
So I'm not 100% sure why they're struggling with that. With the wrestling program they have there, I know that their training regimen is kind of difficult, and it kind of breaks down the body. I heard, and the coaches are really tough there. But with that, I think that scares a lot of high schoolers. They don't really want to go into a program where they're fearful of the coaches. You have to build this relationship in between coaches and wrestlers, and I don't feel like they're doing that great of a job there. But with sorry, what was the second part of that question, man?
What was the second part of that question? Oh, during your transfer process, was Wisconsin, any of these Big Ten schools, kind of just give a rundown of some of the bigger name schools that actually contacted you, and then what ultimately led to your Oklahoma decision?
Yeah, so I had probably like 3 or 4 Big Ten schools contact me. The bigger ones were Wisconsin, Minnesota, Michigan. Those were the kind of big three, and it it was intriguing at first, but you see all these guys leaving their programs, and you wonder like why? What's the reason behind that? And at the same time, it's just like I'm in the Big 12s. I don't really want to make the jump to Big Tens. Their schedule changed. Their training regimen's completely different. Their expectations of you are completely different. So I kind of wanted to stay in the conference that I was comfortable in, and my coach ended up moving to Oklahoma, who was in my conference, and then I knew guys a part of the team from this FCA camp, so it made the move a lot easier to kind of go down there and make that transition a little bit easier.
Did you have athletes in your family? Were you the only one, or were there more than you coming up through your youngin days, as they would call it?
Yeah, yeah. No, we definitely had athletes. We definitely had athletes, man. From Andrew, my oldest brother, down to the youngest one, number 11. I have a big family. Have a big family, a
There's
lot of
too many.
siblings.
Too
There's
many.
too
Can't even
many.
remember
There's
the
too
names.
many to name them, man. I'm not even gonna lie. Not even gonna lie. But
Number 11.
yeah, it's wild to think about. It is wild to think about. But we're all athletes, man. I'm 100% sure that every single one of us will either be on the mats, the field, or the track. We kind of I was a football player, I was a wrestler and a track runner. Never a baseball player. I wish I always got into baseball. Heard a lot about it. Just never really was for me. And we're definitely not a part of the courts. We could never handle the basketball correctly. So
The
we stuck to
form
the
was
mats.
off.
Yes,
I
the
saw
form
him
was
shoot a
yes.
couple
Yeah.
times. He was good to stick with wrestling. You
A
got him
lot of
farther.
air balls, a lot of air balls, a lot of rims, a lot of bricks. So I stuck to the mats, and so did the rest of my brothers. So
I tell you what, you see this guy, you would think he's like the third person picked to be on your basketball team. He was the last guy. There was some uncoordinated guys picked before him.
every time.
How did you get into wrestling? I know you talked about you have an older brother and
Mhm.
he wrestled too, but how did you guys, as a family, really get into wrestling?
So it's a funny story. So, older two brothers actually got to play a little basketball. They weren't great at it, like I said. And I think the last straw was when my second brother Jesse was playing in a basketball game, and he wasn't really paying attention for some reason. I don't know why. But his teammate called his name as they were passing the ball. He looks, and the ball hits his face. After that game, my dad was walking back to the car, and he's like, "We're a wrestling family, boys. We're gonna stick to the mats." So after that, we just kind of stuck to the mats, and it was just from there on, it was just we're a wrestling family. So.
How do you feel like you've improved over the years from that first time you walked on campus there at Wyoming to now going down to Oklahoma? How do you feel like you've improved each year to get to this point where you're at now?
Yeah, so I try to explain it to people as when I was a freshman, I was more of an athlete than a wrestler, and I really focused on my athletic ability. I had really good cardio, so it was kind of ugly. My matches were ugly, but I was determined and to win. So really just was an athlete out there trying to wrestle, and now it's almost got kind of on the opposite spectrum. My body's not as what it's not what it was. So I'm trying to become more of the wrestler, moving into more techniques, placing my hands where they should be, having the patience of attacking when they're actually open, creating angles and openings, and not just shooting the shoot or just wasting energy to waste energy. So just kind of learning the game and becoming more of a veteran than actually a rookie. So I'd say that.
Do you have a ritual before you go out there on the mat, get you fired up, as they could say?
Yeah, in my freshman year, I definitely listened to a lot of music, but throughout my career, I've learned that it's what we do every single day. So you come in, you wrestle, you go out, you wrestle. Wrestling stays the exact same. So just really trying to stay calm throughout that entire process before I step out on the mat. Every single time I wrestle, before I wrestle, I do pray for God, pray to God, and just ask Him to just wrestle. I just really just give me the opportunity to wrestle my best for Him, and that's really been my ritual, as you said, and just really just kind of stay calm because as my coach said, we're all professionals, so we just do what we have to do to perform at our best. So.
So, another thing, how do you hope to be remembered as a wrestler? Not just that, you're remembered even in Loyal from high school, what you did leading up to your college career, but then into college, how do you want to be remembered for your time as a wrestler?
I want to be remembered just being grateful for the opportunity. Coming out of high school, I wasn't really looked at to really be I guess an all-star, I guess I would say. But I would just say grateful for the opportunities, always determined to come in every single day and put his best out on the mat. Just as I was saying earlier, you can control effort. So definitely a guy who just comes in no matter how much he's hurting, no matter what he's kind of been through, just sticking to it and getting better every single day. So I would like to be remembered as just a hard worker who was always grateful for the opportunities that he was given.
Okay, awesome. And one last thing before we wrap it up. Are you planning on continuing? What is the future plans for Stephen Buchanan after we know national championship this year, another one next year? We know we're going to have a couple more national titles in the belt. But after that, after we get done with that, what are the plans for Stephen Buchanan when he is done with his college career?
So I ended up signing with an agency with and they have a lot of gyms of like MMA coming around. So those are definitely that the MMA route is definitely kind of opened up for me. And I've taken some striking classes. Not really sure how well I'm gonna do, but that's definitely a route I can take. But also as a kid, I always wanted to try to be like Jordan Burroughs and become a gold medalist. So I do want to take a Olympic run. And after my collegiate wrestling career in folk style, I want to try the freestyle run, try to make a team, and if that's possible, kind of run with that. And then just recently, the WWE with NIL kind of opened up, so we'll see if that route opens up. And just honestly, I'm finishing out these last 2 years, and then just seeing what God has for me, and just taking whichever route I have and just flying high with it. So.
All right, that's Trajan Bogdanovich from his podcast, Wisconsin Sports on the Go with Trage, and he talked with loyal native Stephen Buchanan. And Stephen's quite a talker.
You bet. You never think that way.
Yeah.
Knowing the young man, yes, he can talk, but he's pretty much a quiet individual. But I think, going to college and getting involved like he has, I think has opened him up to,
Yeah.
I think, quite
Very
a bit.
focused.
Very focused.
Very focused guy.
Yeah, he has got his eye on the prize.
Oh, yeah.
And quite honestly, Larry, that's the way he was in high school. He was a 3-year qualifier for state. He got, I believe, 4th his sophomore year, but the next 2 years, there was no doubt who was going to be the state wrestling champion at 195 pounds.
Yeah,
It was going to be Stephen. And, of course, nice two-timer and a great career for NGL. And then went to the University of Wyoming, and he's a 2-time national qualifier for the NCAA tournament. And now he's transferred to the University of Oklahoma. And I look for him to be very high on the podium at the NCAA national tournament this year.
By the way, Oklahoma's going to begin their season the first weekend in November.
Yeah. And, he's going to have you start talking the Big 8 wrestling, you got a lot of tough competitors, but he will do well. So
Interesting, he talked at the end about MMA
yeah.
after his college career is done.
Yeah, they got to go somewhere, I guess.
Well,
if they want to
interested to see him on the in the octagon or whatever they call it.
I think a lot of these guys read, on Ben Askren. Of course, Ben owns AWA Wrestling, which originally started in the Milwaukee area. And, of course, Ben was a state champion wrestler in Wisconsin, then a national wrestling champion at the University of Missouri. But that's part of the way Ben's career went, too. He did a lot of that MMA stuff, and then before he and his brother opened up AWA, but occasionally he still steps his foot in the ring, in the octagon. So, but I think a lot of guys see that and they want to give it a try. I think. So, but I think if Stephen doesn't do there, I think Stephen will make a tremendous coach someday. Also,
I think you're right.
So.
Yep. All right, so that's where are they now? Stephen Buchanan, of course, at the University of Oklahoma now, wrestling with the Sooners. WIAC football, well, I don't know if you'd call it a major upset, but last Saturday, Whitewater going down.
Yeah, when you haven't beaten somebody since 2004, I guess it's a big deal.
Okay. La Crosse beating Whitewater.
And, that says something about Whitewater, too. La Crosse has probably been the number 2 program in the WIAC in that time, and they hadn't beaten Whitewater since 2004.
Wow.
37-34. Michael Stack, a 51-yard field goal as time expired.
Oh, that's how they won. Okay. Yeah. All right, cool.
So, but this week in the WIAC is got another big matchup. Whitewater, who is now ranked 7th in the country, Larry, is heading to River Falls for number 4 River Falls. La Crosse, who is now up to number 6 in the country, is at Platteville, and Platteville is having a good year. Point is at Stout, and Eau Claire goes to Oshkosh. So
River Falls and La Crosse right now are tied atop the WIAC.
Yeah, La Crosse really went into Eau Claire last weekend. I think it was 49-7. So they're on a roll. So,
all right. So that's WIAC football. The Badgers, they are taking on Iowa this week.
Yeah, it's interesting there. Cade McNamara, who was a transfer from Michigan, was Iowa's starting quarterback. So he is injured, and he's out for the year. So their starting quarterback, it looks like it is going to be Deacon Hill. And Deacon transferred from Wisconsin last year to Iowa. So,
wow.
So he could be making a start on Camp Randall's turf this weekend. So
on Stripe Day, I think they're going to have the red and white stripes in the stands.
Yes, they are. I got a chance to see a little bit of the highlights from that game last Saturday. Ricardo Hallman with a 95-yard interception return was a big play of the game. turned a 10-0 game into a 17-0 game at halftime, and pretty much the Badgers kind of coasted from there. But a good game for Allen. He had over 100 yards rushing and a touchdown. So, but going to get into the meat of the schedule now. You beat Iowa. You've taken out one of the big ones in the West of the Big Ten.
Are they? I haven't really seen much or heard much about them this year.
They have one loss.
Okay,
and it must have been in conference. I don't know who beat them. I believe Penn State beat them.
Okay, well, they're not going to have their quarterback,
right? So and they've struggled normally at Madison too.
Yeah.
So and they're going to be pretty much running the ball. So we'll see what happens. But that game is on Fox at 3:00 on Saturday.
3:00. That's an interesting start time there for that one.
Yeah, usually it was 2:30.
Yeah,
so I don't know. Maybe the baseball games. I think maybe
that could be
screw that up.
Sure,
I don't know,
yeah.
but it doesn't matter.
They all got to have their own
Fox
time.
has different things going on all the time.
Oh yeah, they got their own thing going.
A few other good games this weekend though,
Yep.
Larry. Number 8 Oregon at number 7 Washington out west. That'll
wow.
be a beaut there.
Yeah.
And then this old time rivalry. I like this rivalry. Number 10 USC at number 21 Notre Dame.
Oh yeah.
And that'll be on NBC Saturday night. I see an interesting article on Caleb Williams the other day. He listed the 5 teams he would go to if drafted in the NFL.
Okay.
And said money is not the big thing because he could make more money at USC.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. Well, that was the thing about him coming out or not was who was going to take him, because I've heard that Chicago and Arizona are 2 teams he probably will not go to.
The Raiders were on the list. The Vikings surprisingly were on the list.
Okay.
Of course, I suppose he could walk right in there and be a starter. Maybe that's it there. I don't know, but I of course maybe he has something in the Midwest too, because originally at one time he was considering coming to Madison.
Really?
When he left Oklahoma, it was between Wisconsin and USC.
Wow.
Well, of course, Lincoln Riley went to USC, so that was
a
no-brainer there. So, but I forget the other 3 teams right off the top of my head. But the Raiders were definitely on it, and the Vikings were. Well,
that means they would have to trade up for the number 1 pick.
Yeah, right, exactly.
Because I'm sure that's where he's going to go.
And of course, that doesn't. You got to put your name in for the draft, and you just can't.
Right. Yeah.
So it's kind of hard to move. You look back when Eli Manning did it. When he forced the Chargers to trade him to the Giants, you just don't see that happen anymore at all.
No.
So that was like a one-time deal. So.
Yeah, but he's got the clout, I guess,
he does.
to do it.
And with these new rules with the NILs, and like you said, they can make more money staying in school. You might be seeing a lot more seniors for 4 and 5 years now. So
yeah, right. Yeah. If you can make the money in school, why not? Why not?
So.
All right. The Packers heading into a bye week. Tough one out west there. Right?
Yeah, I said,
against the Raiders.
Larry, their defense I thought played better.
Yeah.
A couple of drives that I thought they could have done better, and I thought the running game was better. I thought A.J. Dillon ran the ball much better than he had previously.
But the defense, again, is...
defense gives
the offense has...
Yeah, but one thing I want to say about defense, sometimes they just can't get off the field sometimes.
Yeah.
They'll take a 3rd and long and turning into a 4th and short, and bang. But Jordan Love just... some bad choices, and it seems like when he is in the pocket, he just does not seem comfortable in the pocket. I think he needs to get out on rollouts and use his legs a little more, and I think he'd be more effective there, because when he's in the pocket, he just does not look good.
Yeah, right now it's just a young quarterback.
Yeah, and of course, Max Crosby was having a field day against the offensive line the other night, and it seemed like he was in his face, and every time he got hit, it just seemed like the ball was coming out a little faster and faster, and it just, at the end of the game there, that was a throw that probably didn't even have to be made, because they had plenty of time. 35 yards ago, a couple of intermediate throws, and they might have been there. So,
and then there was a couple of drops in between.
Yeah, you bet.
Which could have got him closer.
Yes, it did. So, and then, I said it's crazy. On the long pass to Watson, it was a collar tackle that brought him down, but that horse tackle saved the touchdown.
Yeah, and they never did get a touchdown.
No, they didn't.
We got a field goal out of it.
They tried 2 running plays with Dillon, that didn't work, and then the pass and it was incomplete, and they kicked the field goal. So
I always wonder why, when a team gets down there, why don't they try to get in the end zone on that first play?
Yeah,
and then you got 2 other plays.
Yeah, I said play action fake works so good on first down. It's not going to work on third down.
Right.
You know,
because they're looking for the pass.
And then on third down, the run is probably going to work a lot better because it's going to come a lot more as a surprise. So, So,
I would always take a chance.
Yeah,
on
I
first
think
down
so.
in the end zone.
And that's the way it seemed like all the Brett Favre, Aaron Rodgers, that's the way it always was.
Yeah.
I said there were times with Mike McCarthy when they would throw 3 times down there, we complained that he would never run the ball down there. So.
We're never satisfied.
Yeah,
we're never satisfied.
but exactly what it is. So when you play action fake on first down, somebody's going to be open because they're going to be smashing it
because they're ready for the run.
Yeah, and they've got 8 or 9 guys up there. Either a tight end or somebody is going to be open or a back in the flat. So
Not a very good one tonight for Thursday night. Probably a good thing the Warriors are playing tonight.
Yeah.
Denver at Kansas City. That's not going to be much.
No. So a couple of good games this weekend, though. San Francisco, Cleveland, I think has potential.
Mm-hmm.
Detroit at Tampa Bay, and Dallas at the Chargers on Monday night. The Giants at Buffalo originally looked like a good Sunday night pick, but it looks like the Giants have really went south this year.
Yeah, they're not
good.
No, they're not good.
So
they're not good.
No.
All right, baseball heading into the championship series.
Well,
Kind of surprised Baltimore didn't give much of a fight.
They
there with
really
Texas.
didn't, did they? It was just I said in Texas. I guess I really think is the bye a good thing, Larry?
I know
because all the bye Astros haven't struggled, but Atlanta, the Dodgers, and the Orioles have all struggled big time.
Yeah,
and especially the Orioles, they just couldn't get going. And Texas got hot. Texas struggled at the end of the season, got hot in the first round, and they haven't lost.
No,
and they've only played 1 game at home.
Yeah.
And Arizona, same thing.
Yeah. How about that whitewashing on that first night?
Yeah,
against the Dodgers.
Clayton Kershaw, I think it probably ended his career there. Probably.
I think there was a record for the most runs given up without an out.
Yeah, I said 9 runs in the first 2 innings. I said and there was another team that was struggling at the end of the year. Came to Milwaukee, got hot, and they've just continued. So
I don't feel so bad now.
No, I don't either. and they're set up so nice after that first game. Then they start sitting there with Gallen and Kelly to go yet.
Yeah.
And their bullpen very rusted because they did not have to do anything in game 1. So
right.
So
speaking of Dodgers, how about Dodger legend Steve Garvey's going to run for Senate?
Yeah, for the open spot of Dianne Feinstein.
Yeah.
So that's be interesting. There's a guy who always looked like a politician. The clean-cut all-American boy there. So
yeah, he's 74 already.
Yeah, it's unbelievable.
Isn't that something?
Yeah,
how
it
these
seems
guys?
like just yesterday he was playing first base for the Dodgers. So
yeah, unbelievable.
Yeah.
Football Olympics for the Nielsville Rec Department next Friday in the afternoon at 1 o'clock.
Practice football field, and that's no school that day.
No, ages 6 to 13, boys and girls are eligible to play in that.
Right.
And one other thing I got here. The 13th edition of the Men's Cricket World Cup is underway in India.
Okay.
10 countries are battling for global supremacy.
Yeah.
Cricket, you don't hear about it around here.
No.
It's played in various formats ranging from T20, which lasts just 3 hours, to Test, which can take up to 5 days. But this tournament, the World Cup, uses a format called One Day International, in which matches last up to 9 hours.
Okay. Now, cricket is kind of like a far-off version of baseball.
It's kind of,
I don't understand it.
Really
I've seen it done, but
But how popular is it? 2.5 billion fans globally. It only trails soccer as the world's most popular sport.
Isn't that funny how the 2 most popular sports in the world, and soccer is gaining popularity, I say, but you haven't seen any cricket,
No.
But the across the pond countries, that's their mainstays, soccer and cricket. So
706 million watched the 2019 edition of the Cricket World Cup.
Yeah.
For reference, 171 million watched the Super Bowl.
Now, there isn't cricket. Is there? Cricket is not an Olympic sport, is it?
They're putting it.
It is an experimental, maybe.
No, they are bringing it up for discussion. It may be at Los Angeles.
I mean, if it's that popular, you might as well give it a shot.
Cricket hasn't been in the Olympics since 1900.
Okay.
So they're going to try and bring it back.
Oh boy.
Well, we'll get a chance to see it, maybe.
Yeah,
follow it.
maybe if we seen it, we'd like it.
Yeah. I've never really watched the cricket.
No, I've seen little bits of it. I know paddle or a
Yeah,
big
they got
stick,
a big
stick.
paddle. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, it looks almost like a little half plank or whatever. And
Yeah, and then they kind of run and throw the ball.
Yeah.
And, I don't know.
Yeah, it kind of looks like a little bit of tennis, a little bit of baseball. It's
Fast pitch softball. kinda.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So, but you know, I just find it interesting. You know how various parts of the world, how sporting fans think are totally different. I mean, in just the different hemispheres, you know, you got soccer and cricket over here, you got baseball and football here, or
Yeah,
basketball.
right,
You know,
yeah.
so but.
And you know the U.S. is trying to, you know, with football, they're trying to get worldwide with the games in
Well,
London
you know, and
in
then
Mexico City
the
and all over.
basketball too. You know,
Right.
the Naismith Foundation for years and years has been trying to. What they did, I remember reading this article. They sold the original copy of the rules that James Naismith wrote, and they got like $10 million. And what they've done, they went into all these countries and built basketball courts to get kids to play basketball.
yeah.
You know, so it's things like that. So
Well, it's become a worldwide sport.
it
I
has
mean,
exactly. And
I
you
mean,
can-
look at all the international players that are now playing.
Oh man, it's just and I really chalk it up to that.
Yeah,
you know,
right.
it's just
Yeah.
it's crazy, but
Cool.
yeah, at one time you never heard of basketball out of the United States.
No.
And it was up till 1968, nobody ever touched the United States in the Olympics or anything like that.
Right.
So
yeah. And that was about the only time you've seen other countries playing basketball.
Right, it was
in
the Olympics, yeah. And I can't remember, you know, who was the first foreign player in the NBA. But I'd have
Yeah,
to look,
boy, you'd have to go back.
But it wasn't much till probably the late 70s, maybe.
Yeah. All right. Well, again, a reminder: football tonight.
Yes, tonight.
Bealsville, Granted, and Elkbound.
It is senior night, folks. Get up here and honor these 13 seniors.
Yep.
They have given their heart and soul to the program. They have put the program back on the fast track.
Yeah.
And they need to be honored, and let's give it all for them.
And they need a win too.
They need a win.
Get it-
hopefully we get a home game for the week after. So.
Yep, it'll be-
And that'll be another thing, too. I think they announced that on Bally Sports sometime on Saturday, the playoff matchups,
Yes.
too. So,
Yep.
you know,
Look
so.
on various spots. I'm sure you'll
Yeah.
find it somewhere.
Yeah, Zaleski will have something. You can-
WIA will probably have
WIA
something.
has it first. So,
Yeah. So you can check all those spots on Saturday for
Yep.
the playoff pairings.
Yeah.
And so football tonight, 7:00 on 92.7 WPKG. That'll do it for Two Guys on Sports for this week. I'm Larry Hazer.
I'm Dick Olson.
We'll talk to you next week.